Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Millennial Revolt, an independent political talk show that seeks to bring a different narrative than the stale one we have going on right now in the mainstream media. Today, we're going to be talking about the rise of the far right in Germany and the rise of the far right or the nationalist populist movements that seems to be sweeping Europe. Now, I'm just going to speak in general for a little bit about this, and then I'm just going to move on to Germany. And here are my feelings about that. Do I think there are some xenophobic elements as to why we see a lot of the populist nationalist movements rising? Yes, but do I think it is the majority of the reasons as to why this is happening? No. Do I think that a lot of people in European countries have a right to be concerned about what is happening? Yes, they do. When you have a large influx of people coming in, and it's not only from war-torn Syria, it is from Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, a lot of places. Some people who are economic migrants, some people who are actually refugees escaping war-ravaged countries, who are coming in. They are not vetted. No one knows what their intentions are, and they're coming into your countries. You have a right to be concerned about what's happening. There's also the problem of integration. How will they integrate into the society that they are coming in? They do not know the language. That's also a problem. How will they be able to get jobs? It's also going to be an economic strain, because if you don't know the language, you can't get a job. You're going to have to go on benefits, which is going to cost the taxpayers more money because they have to supplement that. So it's a lot of things that go into it, and it's not just racism and xenophobia that a lot of people like to conflate this issue with. Now, another thing that I feel is important is the leaders of these countries, Germany, France, the UK, just to name a few, their first duty, in my opinion, is to protect the people who elected them. You know, there should be a vetting process that goes on to make sure that the people who are coming in are actually people in need. You can't save everyone, and it's completely naive to believe that you can save the world. You know, you have to do little things at a time. And another cause to all of this is US imperialism and our foreign policy, which has stabilized a lot of these countries, whether we're overthrowing a lot of these governments, whether we're trying to engage in regime change in this neoliberal interventionist policy under the guise of humanitarianism that we're trying to implement all over the Middle East and some places in Africa that we're doing. So that's also one part of it that we have to look at. So Alternative for Deutschland, or Alternative for Germany as it's known in English, was founded back in 2013. It started as an anti-European, the anti-Eurosceptic party, but it has since turned its focus onto immigration because of the large number of migrants and refugees flowing into Germany back in 2015, and Islam because of the large number of Muslim refugees and migrants coming into Germany and the compatibility and how they will integrate into German society. And now Alternative for Deutschland has 9 MPs in Germany's 16 state parliaments, and it's aiming to win its first seats in next year's national federal elections. So AfD has sort of capitalized, if you will, on the backlash against Angela Merkel's migrant policy, her immigration policies, rather. As you saw, there were over 1 million migrants and refugees that have come into Germany back in 2015. But there were a lot of people who were just using this as an opportunity to just travel to Europe as well illegally, because a lot of these people are coming illegally. So This caused a lot of anxiety among German citizens. Not everyone, but it did cause a lot of anxiety around some. And a lot of Germans were very welcoming to the people who were coming. They were giving around food, they were giving clothing, people were letting them stay in their houses. So you really saw people coming together, people trying to help out. But then there was the massive sexual assault attacks on German women that happened in Cologne on New Year's, and then there were the numerous terrorist attacks that happened literally in 1 week, which caused the backlash. And another part of that was a lot of the media covering up what happened in Cologne, and anyone who was speaking out about migrants attacking them or what was going on in Germany were labeled as Nazis, and they were kind of silenced and threatened by the police and government. And there was a lot of repercussions because of that. So that also plays into why you see the AfD rising, because I think they're the only party addressing some of these people's concerns. So in the elections that just took place on September 4th, the AfD took second place with almost 21% of the votes, behind the center-left Social Democrats, which is the SPD, which took 30.6% of the votes, but ahead of Angela Merkel's own party, the Christian Democrats, which is the CDU party, which took 19% of the votes, and that was in her hometown of Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania. So Angela Merkel's party took a real beating, and basically it was a referendum on her immigration policy and how German citizens were reacting to it, and her party took a beating. They came in third place. So, and the SPD is actually down 5 points than when they originally were. The AfD has also adopted some of Pegita's anti-establishment rhetoric. For example, the slogan Lügenpresse, which is a German word for lying press, some people say have the echoes from the Nazi era in Germany. But here's the thing. We see that our media is lying in the United States. We can see this when they were lying and they're making things up about Dr. Jill Stein. We saw this when they were lying about what happened at the Bernie Sanders rally, saying that his supporters were throwing chairs. We see this sometimes when they lie about Donald Trump. I'm not defending him, but there are some very salacious things are said that are just blatant lies and he's not even doing. So it's not a stretch to believe that the press in other countries are lying. If we see this happening here, of course it's happening there. Like it's not too hard to believe, and it's not a stretch of the imagination to believe that these people are lying. But the problem lies when you have an influx of people coming into your country. They don't speak the language. Now you have the citizens of this country getting nervous. They don't know what's happening. They don't know what's going on. And when they try to get answers from their government, the government is putting out statements lying. And the media is basically covering up crimes that may be committed by migrants and refugees. So people are probably looking around like, okay, what the hell is going on? If they're saying everything is all sunshine and roses, and what I see outside is completely different, then there's one party that's saying, well, your media is lying to you. They're not telling you what's going on. Of course people are going to start voting for this. And this is the problem that we have here. If we don't have a press that's dedicated to telling the truth, even when the truth hurts, you're going to see a lot of rise in nationalist parties. You're going to see a lot of a rise in populist parties, because nationalism and populism will always win over globalism every single time. And if you don't believe it, look at what's happening all over Europe. So other far-right parties across Europe have cheered the strong showing for the Alternative for Deutschland in this German election. Gert Wilders, the founder and leader of the right-wing Party for Freedom, the PVV, said that all victories of patriotic and EU critical parties are helping freedom-loving people and parties all over Europe. He also said no one will be able to stop the patriotic spring and the old times where the ruling political elite like Angela Merkel, Hollande from France, Rutte, and others could bypass and ignore the common people on issues such as immigration, asylum, and EU policy are definitely over. Their soon-to-be political end is the start of a new political wave of patriotism, national sovereignty, and the end of cultural relativism. Marine Le Pen from France tweeted that what was impossible yesterday has become possible. The AfD patriots have swept away Angela Merkel's party. Those sentiments were echoed by other anti-European leaders and anti-immigration parties in Austria and Italy as well. Experts say that the establishment of a right-wing populist party in Germany's political mainstream may put further wind in the sails of anti-immigration and anti-EU movements throughout Europe. The rise of the AfD, they say, is an outgrowth of problems familiar from other countries with far-right populist parties. And here's the thing, none of these experts are saying why these far-right parties are gaining at such a rapid speed than never before. Every action has a reaction, and every action that the political elite that are taking in these European countries that are alienating the citizens of these countries in Italy and France and Germany and Austria has a reaction. Racism is something that people are not born with. Xenophobia is something that people aren't born with. These are things that are learned. That there are things that are happening in these countries that the media isn't telling us, that the political elite is not telling us. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what's actually going on. And this is cause and effect. This is what's happening when you have your press lying to you, your government hiding things, and the people feel lost and hopeless. So they're going to turn to these parties that are feeding into this, that are possibly answering some of the concerns that they have. So the AfD has also won 24.3% of the vote in Saxon-Anhalt and 20.8% of the vote in the northern state of Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. It has also gained 15.1% and 12.6% of the vote in Baden-Württemberg and Rhineland-Palatinate. The party has less support in the smaller northern cities, winning 6.6% of the vote in Hamburg and 5.5% in Bremen. Mrs. Merkel's approval rating has fallen to its 5-year low of 45%, down from 67% a year ago, when the German government accepted millions of refugees. The center-left Social Democrats, who led the state government in a coalition with the conservatives, the Christian conservatives, Angela Merkel's party, remain the strongest party, winning 30.6% of the vote. Now that the AfD is represented in 9 of the 16 state legislatures in hopes to enter the national parliament next year, some of the other political parties that are in the government say that they won't tolerate the AfD being in the national government, is try to block them from coming in, doing all that. But here's the thing. Political parties win power if they have votes. Democracy is not about certain parties tolerating other parties. Whether other political parties like it or not, the AfD is going to gain power in Germany if it has enough votes. because it's not that every single person who is voting for these people are neo-Nazis, or that they are racist, or that they are xenophobes, or that they don't like Muslims. People are voting for these people, this political party, is because they have concerns, that they are nervous. They don't like the direction of where their country is headed. They feel that their security is at risk. And if you only have one political party addressing this and everyone else singing kumbaya, we must all get together and work, I'm going to jam through what I want to, you're going to have things like this happening. And this is what you see happening all through Europe. And you know me, I'm black. I don't understand, and I can't say I understand what a lot of these Europeans must feel when they see large Middle Eastern and African people coming into their countries. Am I going to say racism has something to do with it? Yes, but do I think it's the main reason? No, I don't. And to not think that their claims and their concerns are valid and just dismiss it as racism is extremely foolish. And if history has taught us anything, we know where this leads to. We know what can happen when this goes down. You see this happening in the United States, and you see it conflated with a different issue. You see this with talks about immigration, how whether it's Hispanics or Latinos, or you have some people from the Caribbeans and the Middle East coming into the United States, you see Caucasian Americans, some are extremely nervous about it. Is every single person a racist? No, I'm not going to say that. Do people have legitimate concerns and questions? Yes, they do. And I think we have to reach a point where we can be able to talk about these issues logically and subjectively and not get too wrapped up in emotions about it. Because if we can't be honest with ourselves about what's going on, you're going to start seeing more like this. This is why you have the National Front in France. This is why you have Gert Wilders' party. This is why you have Golden Dawn in Greece. And I follow a lot of these far-right populist parties because I want to know what's going on. Our media doesn't talk about it. They just talk about, oh, well, all these people are racist, that they don't want Muslims in their countries. But here's the thing, Mike, the question I ask is, why are all these people gaining votes? Why are all these parties rising as fast as they are? If we can't have our news organizations and the governments answer these questions without screaming, oh, these people are all just racist, then there is something extremely wrong here. There's something wrong, and we need to be able to talk about this, or as I said, you're going to see these parties are rising fast. They are popping up all over Europe, and if you're not nervous as to what you're seeing, then you're living in a box. And to just and for people to keep claiming, oh, well, these are racist, these people are Nazis, these people are xenophobes, that's not going to work anymore. You're taking the meaning out of these words, and racism is such a strong word, and it has so much meaning and implications. And to claim everyone is a racist, same way you have feminists claim everyone is a misogynist, you take out the meaning of these words. And now when you see actual hate crimes and all of these happening, that's going to happen in Europe, unless they're already happening now, no one's going to care. So we just got to be we just have to be honest and vigilant as to what's happening. I'm the Millennial Revolt, and thank you guys so much for watching, and you have a wonderful day. Bye.